This is Dr. Karen, and you are listening to the De Facto Leaders Podcast on the B Podcast Network, where I share up-to-date, evidence-based practices, my own experiences, and guest interviews designed to help pediatric therapists, educators, and aspiring school leaders design services that support social, emotional, and academic growth and set kids up for success in adulthood. Whether you want to learn effective strategies for your therapy session or classroom, be an influential leader on your team, or find creative ways to use your skills to advance in your career, I've got you covered. Hey everybody, it's Dr. Karen, and welcome to episode 234 of the De Facto Leaders Podcast on the B Podcast Network. In this episode, I'm sharing a conversation I had with a Language Therapy Advanced Foundations student, Paula Santos. So just a disclaimer, this is a recorded conversation that I did a while ago before I had fancy podcast equipment. So you may have to adjust your audio to make sure that the volume is at a good listening volume. I tried my best with some editing to get it equal, but just a disclaimer there. But I did want to share this interview because what Paula shared in the conversation, I think would resonate with a lot of people. I think about this interview a lot, and some of the things that Paula shared are things that I think about now, even though I'm in a different position than I was, back when I was in the schools as an SLP. So Paula, she shares her story of why she decided to join Language Therapy Advanced Foundations, which is, again, my program that helps SLPs create a system for language. So her situation was that she was the only SLP at a charter school. And so I think that whether you're an SLP or whether you're in a different discipline and you are the only person in your building that has your role, or you're on a team and you don't have a whole team of people that have that same job that you do, I think a lot of people can resonate with that. It creates this situation where you feel like you don't belong anywhere on the team. I think that there's different ways that we can think about belonging and, how we're connected to our other teammates at our job, as well as how we can have some kind of additional community outside of our place of employment, or even our team if we're self-employed. There's other communities that you can join, but this is something that I've personally struggled with for many years and continue to work on. But again, it's a challenge when, for example, you are an SLP and there's nobody else on your team that can support you in those areas specific to your discipline. Yes, and this was my experience when I was in the schools. I had a principal who was very supportive, and she actually called me the speech pathologist and not the speech teacher. And there were a lot of areas where she could support me professionally in areas where I needed to grow that impacted my SLP practice, but were not directly specific to SLP practice. For example, handling behavior, collaborating with the team, just general ways that you interact with students and you interact with your team members and how you present yourself. Those things are really valuable. And I think that it's valuable to have other outside professionals and other team members who can provide input and growth. And it's important for us as professionals to be flexible in how we think about belonging. So we can belong to a group of SLPs or a group of reading teachers or math teachers or psychologists or whatever it is our discipline is. But we can also think of ourselves as belonging to the team at our school. So even if you are the only person on your team that is in your particular role, you can still feel belonging in your on your team in that way. But at the same time, it's also normal to sometimes feel a little siloed and isolated if nobody else understands specifically what you need to do and what is related to your discipline. So it's important to also have some kind of group or sense of belonging of like-minded professionals that are in your discipline. So again, if you're at SLP, having access to other SLPs is also very valuable. And I think that's partially what Paula was looking for, is that she wanted something specific to her discipline, in order to make sure that she was working on language in a way that would support her students. I think that, like I said, many times other professionals that we work with can provide really valuable insight. The way that schools are set up, often it's the principal who's evaluating you. And I know people have a lot of feelings about that. I actually talk about principals and employee evaluations in an episode with Eric McKelkey. I will link to that. But I think it's important for us to be able to take value from those interactions that we have with other professionals. It's important to not go into that with the attitude of this person doesn't know how to evaluate me and they don't know what they're doing because they're not in the same discipline that I am. That's actually an opportunity where we might get better input because we know the insight of other people on our team that we need to be interacting with. But that being said, it is important that we have access to mentorship and support in our discipline as well. So we can be flexible with how we think about that. So, like I said, part of the reason that Paula wanted to join Language Therapy Advanced Foundations is because she wanted that specific content area expertise and specific information relating to what an SLP should be doing, because as the lone SLP in her district, she didn't feel like she had that. So I was happy to be able to provide a way for her to get that information. So if that is your situation, if you're feeling like you might have great support in certain areas, interacting with your team, great collaboration there, but also want to be able to bring the right information to your team so that you can be that content area expert and be a team member who can contribute in your area of expertise. That is what I've aimed Language Therapy Advanced Foundations in enabling you to do. So I will hop over to my conversation with Paula, where she shares a little bit about her experience and what she was able to use the program for. And if you are interested in taking a look at Language Therapy Advanced Foundations, you can go to drkarenspeech.com/language therapy. All right. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, like who you are and what type of setting you're working in?
So my name is Paula Santos, and I'm working in a charter school, which is a K-4 charter school in Providence, Rhode Island. I've been there for 3 years now. I'm the only speech language pathologist working there. So I needed every resource I could. So that's kind of why I landed here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So is
So
that
how
enough
did you,
information?
what?
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, so how did you learn about Language Therapy Advance?
Well, because I'm the only speech language pathologist at this school, and actually I'll also say that at this particular school, I am the first speech pathologist they've ever hired. It's a new school, it's only 5 years old. So there really wasn't any support there in terms, as a speech language
Yeah.
pathologist. So I literally, like every minute that I had free, I poured over every kind of resource that I could just to get some help for myself.
Yeah.
Because also, I was home as a stay-at-home mom for 22 years. So when I jumped back into the field, I felt very not prepared.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think it might have been either maybe the Facebook group, or I don't know, or it could have just been something that I just happened to be on, because I
Right.
literally was always on the computer looking for help.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
so
how
then
much time do you think you were spending looking through things for language?
oh my gosh, you mean in terms of like hours of a day or
Sure.
something like that?
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, like at least an hour or two. I was
Yeah.
on Facebook. Like I felt like Facebook was my resource, because people would mention things or put a link for something, or and almost every time I got information, I would say, oh my gosh, let me look into that. So it could have been that way that I did it.
Yeah.
But like literally, I went to bed at night with an iPad, and got on Facebook, and just like hours.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
other than, I mean, you've kind of shared a little bit about your situation, but what specific things were you struggling with when you joined the program?
So I just felt like, okay, articulation, I kind of felt like, yeah, I got
Yeah.
this. It's very precise, it's very orderly. I could figure that out. You start with, isolation, then sounds, then phrase, I could do that.
Yeah.
Language to me was like massive
Mm-hmm.
beast that I didn't know. And there were so many kids who were language kids.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know how to tackle it. I felt like
Right.
I needed a similar strategy. And I happened onto the language therapy advance, and I was very intrigued by the fact that it sounded like there was like a curriculum,
Mm-hmm.
like, cause that's kind of what I was looking for, something to make it orderly.
Right. So now that you have gotten into the program and you're using it, what kinds of results have you seen with your students
Well,
or with your habits as well?
I would have to say at this point, I'm still very intimidated to try like branching out into different things. So I feel like I'm like gathering all this information into my little arsenal.
Yeah.
And one day I'll feel courageous enough to like try it. I mean, I have dabbled, and every time I do, it seems like in my eyes, I feel like, oh, I didn't do that right. So I
Yeah.
kind of shy away a little bit, and then I brace myself up again to try it again.
Yeah.
Um, but at a minimum, what has impacted me the most is recognizing that like the meta concept is what I've like latched onto,
Yeah.
and I think I'm using that for kind of everything. Like the other day, I was talking about something with the kids that ended in TION. So it could have been like, use your imagination. And I
Yeah.
said, oh, let's think about what the ending of that word is, imagination. Like, oh, when I say it, it sounds like I'm saying shun, but look at this word, so I kind of like got them
Right.
into really
Right.
looking at that, and then thinking about what other words ended like that. So that's kind of the baby steps I've made for myself at this point. Is really just having them look more at words and thinking about words and sentences. And, like I've even had them like, we're working on answering questions, and like for a particular sentence, well, how many words are in that sentence? And I was surprised that they didn't know like what the words were, what
Right.
words
Like what a
are,
word is.
what a word is. I was like, oh, let's practice that. So just really getting them to think about language is what my take away for now is.
Yeah. Well, those baby steps, I mean, I know it feels like, oh, I'm just doing the one thing, but doing the one thing can make a big difference. I mean, even just that twist in
Yeah.
your thinking and just pointing it out to them can make a big
And
difference.
I've never used writing. Like writing was actually something that was very intimidating to me as well.
Mhm.
Like writing, oh my gosh, like I'm not a great writer, so how am I going to do that? But at a minimum, like I've had them take out whiteboards and let's think of some words that start with Tion. Let's write Tion. What does that say? Shun. Oh my gosh, that's so weird that it says shun, even though it's a T, so
Yeah.
I don't know, just like exploring, I think, is what I've been doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I think that the exploring part, like you ease yourself in and you get more comfortable over time. But the important thing is that you're showing your kids that that they can do that too. And I think it's okay that you don't always feel like you know the answers, because they're not going to know. I mean, it's about the process, not you just teaching them
Right.
and
That
being the
that was
lecturer.
exactly, that was key for me as well, when you mentioned that several times, where the exploring was okay, and it's okay to not know. And one time
Mhm.
you did a Facebook's little webinar, I guess it was
Right, like a
called,
Facebook Live.
yeah, Facebook Live, and you even said you got a little stumped, and so you were looking into how to do
Right.
that. Oh my gosh, like, it's okay to get stumped.
Hmm.
So I've kind of like taken that as, it's okay. I was putting so much pressure on myself.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, we really don't have to. There's a lot of stuff that we don't, if you had to pick apart a sentence, I mean, I have to look up stuff all the time. And
Yes,
so to show your kids, well, that's all right. This is what you can do. Look at
right.
me. I got stuck too. And this is what I did.
I felt like I was supposed to know everything, and if I
Hmm.
got stumped, that meant I was horrible.
Yeah.
But
And
you helped
that's,
me. You helped me realize that's not the case. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That reshifting can be
uh,
pretty powerful.
well, it's also relaxing. Like, I was
Hmm.
putting so much pressure on myself, and it allowed me to just relax in this a little bit and have fun with them.
Yeah.
Have exploring is fun. I actually like language, so the fact that I was shying away from it wasn't a good thing, because
Hmm.
it's intriguing to me too. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's good.
Good. So how you had mentioned that you were really looking at a lot of things on Facebook. How does that compare from before and after? Like as far as the time you're spending or just your feeling of how you're preparing for your sessions? Like compared to before
Well,
and
in
after.
Well, I would say that now I'm definitely not spending as much time, because a lot of it now is, oh, I kind of know that. Oh, I know
Mhm.
that now. So I think 3 years in, and this is just my personal journey,
Mhm.
3 years in, coming from like a base of what I feel like was almost nothing, I've
Right.
learned so much that, every now and then, like, I do get little snippets of information that are great, little resources that are wonderful. But I feel like I've kind of got my footing, and I kind of know better um how to approach my job in a,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Mhm.
when you say planning, the reason I didn't say planning is because I'm still not a great planner.
Yeah.
Um, as a little, like, on aside, I still struggle with like time management a little bit.
Mhm.
So I find I'm spending a lot more time on like the paperwork kind of stuff,
Right.
and my therapy is sort of like, um, it's not as planned as I would like it to be yet.
Yeah. So,
So
when you are planning for language, is that different from other areas of or other
yes,
conditions you would treat?
yeah, and yes, because it's more challenging. It's like
Mhm.
yeah, it's still a struggle for me, because I feel like it's so broad, um and I don't always access the resources that I have, um and I might afterwards think, oh, I should have just done this, or should have just done this. I don't know, I'm still a little bit scattered in terms of
Yeah.
language.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we all feel like that. I still feel like that sometimes, but
Yeah.
so would after being in the program for a while, would you recommend this to another SLP who is in your situation?
Absolutely. Because like I said, like, the biggest takeaway for me is just the meta part right
Mhm.
now. And it makes me think differently about how to approach so many different things. Like just talking about what you don't know
Mm-hmm.
is like, I mean, that's a learning too.
Right.
Um, I feel like it stretches my 30 minutes in a good way by
Mm-hmm.
just being able to talk about like, like I can just, if I feel like I have, 15 minutes more and oh my gosh, like I've already done what I was going to do,
Mm-hmm.
I can take a word and like dig into it,
Mm-hmm.
so, and that's powerful because it like kind of gives them a skill that they can use for something else. Like, perfect example, on Friday, I had a little girl that I was about to do. I knew this was going to be my last session with her for
Mm-hmm.
different reasons.
Right.
And so I said, what could I give her like bang for her buck? She's a fifth grader. What could I give her bang for her buck in like 30 minutes that she could use, for other things? So I said, let's do prefixes and suffixes. And she's like, oh, what's that? And I said, well, it's little things that you put at the end, beginning and the end of a word to like totally change the word.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kind of just did that for this 30-minute session, just focused on that. And it was, again, just a way of looking at words and understanding them, that little parts of words mean something.
Thank you so much for listening. So, if you are a professional supporting students' language and literacy, check out my Language Therapy Advanced Foundations program. Language Therapy Advanced Foundations gives speech language pathologists and other interventionists supporting language and literacy a research based framework for building the language skills needed to support reading, writing, spelling, and other important life skills. In the program, I teach you a framework for supporting phonology, morphology, orthography, semantics, and syntax in a way that's possible to implement, even if you only have 1 or 2 sessions with students a week. To learn more about the program, you can go to drkarenspeech.com/language therapy. As always, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and colleagues, and leave me a rating or review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks again for listening, and I will see you next time.